Good afternoon. This is Elaine Shelton from Carmichael, California, and this is the Fractured News. It's January 26th, and it's windy and gray out today, and I'm here to bring you my latest thoughts. First, I have some condolences. We've lost two great actors today, Suzanne Pleshette and Heath Ledger. Both terrible, terrible losses for us. My personal little belief is that famous people die in threes, and I always find it very interesting what three people go together, so I'm waiting to see who the third person is. And it's not always who you expect, but it's interesting to take a moment to see the three of them going up to the pearly gates. So when we see who the third person is, you'll hear my thoughts about what those conversations might be like on the way up. Kind of like an elevator ride, and I'll let you know on that later. Moving on, I found something very interesting on the news the other day. Did you know that if you can't get to your family's funeral, you can actually go to the internet, and there's some funerals on the web? Oh yes, you can turn it on. And funerals are now making use of the internet. So if you're elderly family members or people that are just too poor to fly, or they have 18 kids, and they still want to see their dead relatives die, to be buried, they just turn it on. And I was just thinking, you know, the funerals are kind of interesting to see. They're part of culture. So I thought, maybe I'll just tune into your funeral someday and just kind of watch different people's funerals and send them a card if I like it, and maybe I'll pan it on the air if I don't like it. So you better watch out. You better have a good funeral, because you don't want to get a bad review from me, because I will tell your name. And I'll say you had a lousy funeral. You might have had a great life, but you had a crappy funeral. So make sure it's interesting and fun. You know, I want to make sure that enough people are crying. I want to know you look pretty. You know, nobody, gets too drunk before the funeral. That's for after. Okay, a little drunk before is okay. You know, and no, not everybody has to be stoned at the funeral. Oh, well, okay, a few people can be stoned. Sometimes it helps to get through. You know, speaking of stoners, I've never mentioned my oldest son, Blake. I have a son. I haven't seen him in 3 years. You see, he was at his house one day, and he lived in the area here in Sacramento. And, well, he was stoned. And he went out to get some munchies. And I guess he turned left instead of right. And he's driving along and driving along and driving along. And he got to the house that looked like his, and he walked in. And he opened the door, and everybody kind of looked stunned and went, "Munchies! Come on, sit down, dude, we're going to light up." He said, "Okay." And he sat down, and he said, "What took so long?" He said, "I don't know, man, my car must be broke, because, I had to fill the gas tank 5 times. And so, the last time I heard from him, he was in Oregon. And, the old hippie guy turned to him and said, "That's all right, man. We'll just do a few more of these, and then we'll go look at your car and see what we can do." And, well, needless to say, he hasn't been back. We hear he's doing fine in Oregon. Things grow well there, and as you can imagine, he's happy. And so that's my oldest son. If you see him up there in Oregon, say, "Hey, your house is this way. It's waiting for you." And moving on, I've got a lot to say politically. This is going to be just the greatest year for political science majors and people who love politics, and those few souls that, really understand what's going on. I only understand the fringes. I just get what I get, and I'll just throw it at you how I understand it. First thing I have to say is, Bill, this isn't your election. Go home. You're tired. You need a nap. It's not your birthday party. You're not the party boy now. You're done. You're messing it up. Just, Bill Clinton, go home. And besides that, it's Hillary's turn. Take your turns, people. And Hillary, you're no better at turns. You took your turn. Then Barack wants to talk. You want to talk over him. The two of you, both the Clintons, they need Nanny Joe to go to their house and make them behave. I think we need the naughty chair at the Clinton household. And really, seriously, Len, don't you think so?
Yep.
I've never seen such behavior. They're so rude. And I think they need time out, and Nanny Joe to teach them the process of how to behave like grown-ups. And, and finally, the last thing I have to tell you is I have a problem here at our complex. Our postman has decided he doesn't deliver packages to the door. He dumps them off in our office. And I complained, and I found out that the technical and legal and logistical answer is, that's what we do here. And I said, so that thing that you do officially is not deliver packages to my door? Yes. Why? Well, we've been doing it for a long time. So the U.S. Postal Service no longer, if they say it's an official thing, then it's okay to do it. So that thing they do is not give me service. So I'm here to tell you, Post Office, the thing that I do is use UPS. And that's all for me, and I'm Lainey Shelton in Carmichael, and have a great day.